teach at Blackboard?
Jennifer, and for the past 4 years, I've worked exclusively with online students, just doing online class advising. So that kind of gives me an idea about a variety of different student experiences. But I am a first-generation student, and I completed my bachelor's degree with Southern online, and then I completed a master's degree online. So I've kind of seen it from both sides.
Like Jennifer, I went to school here and got my bachelor's degree in psychology, but this was a long time ago before they had online classes. And then I had completed a master's degree online, and I'm currently working on an educational specialist degree online. So online learning is very dear to my heart because I would not be where I am without it. So we're going to keep this very informal since there's just 4 of you. I want you involved. I want you to ask questions as we go along the way. And I'm going to start by asking you some questions. First, how many of you have ever taken an online class? Okay, just one or more than one?
I took one.
One, okay.
Like 6 or 7.
6 or 7, okay.
What was the online class you took?
I took an English class, short stories,
Okay.
in the summer.
In the summer, okay.
I really loved it, and I'd like to take more, but it doesn't seem like there's that many offered
Online or in the summer?
online.
I can help you with
I hope so.
this. And how about you? What were the classes you picked?
What students said, Pi Beta analysis. Right now I'm taking interpersonal communications. There are some other ones.
Okay. All right, well, for the rest of you, I want to ask you some questions. How many of you think taking an online class is easier than taking a face-to-face class? And there's no right or wrong answer. No idea?
Do you think it's harder?
Do you think it's harder?
They don't want to speak in a group.
I would say it's probably just like depending on your learning style, how you see it.
Very good answer, very good answer. The truth is the rigor should be the same for an online class as it is for an on-ground class, meaning you should have to do the same amount of work. A lot of it is going to depend on your learning style. And Jennifer's team works a lot with students to determine what their learning style is. Have you guys heard of CARC? It's determining whether you're a visual, audio,
Aesthetic or read-write learner.
and read-write learner. And how you fit into those categories determines how you need to learn in an online class. And Jennifer's team works with the students to help them find study tips and things that work for them.
Okay. Any more questions?
Yes, one more. Okay. How many of you are aware of how much outside study time you need for a class?
Tell us.
I need a lot. I study quite a bit on my own outside of the classroom. And whenever I took that English class, short story, in the summer, and I worked on it every day. It was
Okay.
only 8 weeks is all I can, we had to write something at least once a week.
Yes.
And I worked on it a lot.
Yeah.
Well, average is 3 hours for every 1 hour of credit. So if you're taking a 3-hour class, you times that times 3, that's 9 hours on average of outside work you should put in to make a decent grade in that class. A lot of people don't budget for that, especially online. That's a big problem. So one of the things that we're going to talk to you about is time management. And what Jennifer and I have done is we've created an online orientation for online students, and we've been running it for about 1.5 years, 2 years. Yeah. And it goes over a lot of things. If you can see up here, this is what it looks like. And we do the basics of online education, and this is where we kind of talk about some of the myths. And those are the questions that I just asked you. Whether you thought it should be easier or harder to take an online class. And the truth of the matter is it should be the same. We'll go ahead and go in here for a second.
I want to put in here that the content in this was drawn from 2 different areas of expertise. Alicia laid down a lot of the technical side, and then other parts of it are built from communications that my team and I have on a regular basis with online students. There's Southern Welcome, when you come in, there's one for just everybody, and there's one for transfer students. They talk about a lot of things that are very specific to the on-campus environment. And there are different types of people taking online classes for different reasons. You may be in an online class because you don't want to take an 8 o'clock class in whatever subject, and the only other option for you is online. You might take it online because you prefer to take your classes later in the day and you don't have enough time, or there's some other kinds of conflicts. That's a student taking an online class. It's not really an online student. To us, an online student would be somebody who, for whatever reason, takes the majority of their courses online. So the orientation material that we provide is geared towards those things that strictly online students need. When you have a bad day in class, you can talk to classmates, roommates, friends you know who aren't taking courses with you at the same time, but you can kind of settle yourself down that way. You can get information about resources on campus to help you with different issues. On-campus students don't have access to that, so there's a lot of information, or online students don't have access to that kind of peer informational system, that kind of information grapevine. So a lot of the stuff that's provided in this is very specific, it's very direct, and it covers a lot of things. If you're only taking one or two, you might not really think that that's all that beneficial, and that's cool if you want to skip some of it. The way Felicia's built the class, I think there's badges available if you do everything. There's videos in here that kind of put a face to a name for different subjects or different roles within the Blackboard online environment. Again, that's because online students don't have the ability to walk over and see the registrar face to face. So just some ideas there about why some of the stuff is in there.
So what I'm going to do is kind of run through this orientation. I'm just going to hit on the stuff that I think would be important for you guys. We'll skip the stuff that's geared more towards a traditional online student. For instance, in this first module, there's a welcome to MSSU Online and an introduction from the Department of Distance Learning Director. There's an interactive tutorial, which are what are the myths of online learning, which are the questions I just asked you. An online article, the 10 traits of a successful learner. That kind of crosses over into whether you're an on-ground or online student. So that would be a very helpful article for you to read. You can read online versus traditional courses, and it just basically lays out the difference between the two and what you can expect. There is a best practices tutorial in there, and it just talks about the best practices of being a good online student, and just reinforces some of the other material in here. Now the technical requirements, that is a document and a check for your computer, because a lot of people don't update their own computers. If you're not a very tech savvy person, you may not be keeping up with browser updates. You may not be keeping up with Java and Flash updates. Those are very important for an online class because we rely heavily on those to get the classes to operate. A lot of the tutorials and the materials are either Java or Flash based. Since the browsers, which are usually Chrome, Mozilla, Firefox, Safari if you're on a Mac, and IE is my least favorite. They do constant updates as well. And as they update, Blackboard updates, and so the older one will drop off and they will no longer support that. So it's very important to make sure that you keep up with your browser updates if you're an online student. Now, as of right now, Blackboard functions best in Mozilla Firefox. Chrome would be the next choice, and then IE. We are having major problems with Safari right now on Blackboard, so if you have a Mac, I would download the Firefox for Mac. That instead. But this technical requirements gives you the information about what kind of internet speed you would need. You are not going to function well as an online student if you're still using dial-up. So you're going to need to have access either through McDonald's or Starbucks or a friend's house, something to some higher speed internet. A lot of the videos that we put in there are not going to play on dial-up.
And add into the technical requirements side, crashes are inevitable. If you're in an online class, always make sure that you have thought beforehand, before your semester begins, what your backup plan is going to be, because chances are you're going to need it. You may get a bug, something may go down, your internet provider, who knows, you could lose your cable modem, whatever. So you need to have already, Sherlocked out where you're headed. Like she said, are you going to go to McDonald's, or, what are you going to do? Another option is a laptop and a dongle with a data plan from somebody like Verizon or whatever. Just so that you've got that backup. Additionally, if you need to travel during your semester, your online class is not going to wait for you. You get sick, you have an injury, you have to go to the hospital, somebody gets sick, you're called over to the Kansas side to go to some special clinic, you're still going to have due dates. So you need to have a laptop or something so that you can make sure that you're getting your stuff submitted and on time. I mean, there are times when your faculty member will cut you a break, but can't count on that. So always have that backup plan in the back of your mind so that you know you've got something to fall back on. I mean, you may be able to call us and say, hey, can you help me out? Can you reset this? I mean, there's some issues like that that we're able to offer minimal assistance with. But in general, have a good plan B.
Fewer faculty are willing to give breaks for lack of internet, given the fact that there's a Starbucks and a McDonald's with free internet just about everywhere. So, one of the things that's also in this document is the use of cell phones and tablets. Some people try and take the class on their phone or try and take the class on an iPad. And while some features of Blackboard do work through the Blackboard app, such as the discussion boards, you cannot take a test online on a cell phone or any sort of tablet. You are going to have a computer. We don't purchase the mobile support from Blackboard, and as of right now, even on the mobile, with the mobile support, the tests are not functioning well on a mobile device. They use an entirely different operation system, and it has a tendency, when it picks up internet off of cell towers, it triangulates and it keeps constantly checking and it kicks students off. And if you get kicked off, the test saves right where you're at, and then you have to either call us or your instructor and have it reset and start over again. You don't want to start over again. So if you're taking a test, always take it on a computer.
I took a test on my phone one time. It was horrible because my phone was too tiny for it, but the internet went out the night before it was due. I was stupid, I procrastinated, and then I had to do it on my phone.
How many questions was the test? Was it a quiz or was
It might have been more of a quiz than a test, but I know I took it and the words were really tiny.
You
Yeah.
got really lucky.
Yeah, yeah. Usually, we've had some students get away with it with 10-question quizzes, but when we're talking a final, 100 questions.
It's not
you
worth
don't
the
wanna do
risk.
that on the phone.
It is not worth the risk. So have a good plan B that's not your phone. And even if you've got a phablet, really, it's not big enough. Even if you flip it on its side and do landscape, if you've got an essay question, you're sunk because you can't go back up and spell check or proof or.
Well, in some departments, like if you're an environmental health major, they require a Respondus lockdown browser. And we could go into that in here, what lockdown browser is. But basically, it is a browser that you have to put on your computer, such as Internet Explorer or Firefox. But it locks down your computer when you open it. To get into the test, you would actually click that link and open the Blackboard in it. And what it does is it disables your ability to do a screen capture or to open another browser so that you can't cheat. You can't pull up Google and search for your answers.
It won't let you open new tabs.
Yeah, and so it will not work on a mobile device. So, if you're taking a course that requires a lockdown browser, you're not going to be able to do it on your phone at all. And that's based, some accreditation, they're a lot more strict on testing requirements and things like that. So it varies by course. So that's what's in this first module, is a lot of information like that. And then at the very end of it, there's a little knowledge check. And basically it's like a quiz. And it's just practice for new students to take quizzes in Blackboard. It is multiple choice and true false, and you can take it as many times as you want to get the score you need. In order to get the badge for completing the section, you have to pass it with an 80% or better.
80%.
Yeah. But you're welcome to, after this training is over, or this talk is over, we'll put you in there. You guys can get in there and play around and do whatever parts of it you want. If you want to do all of it to earn the badges, you're more than welcome to. If you just want to pick out certain sections that are of interest to you, you're welcome to do that as well. So that's the first module. The second module, resources for online students. This one is where all the videos come in to familiarize the traditional online student with the resources that they have on campus that they may not be familiar with. There's a Students' Right of Responsibilities video, financial aid registrar, library services. I'm sure you guys have probably already done a talk on the library and what they have to offer. Career services, Bursar, accessibility, the bookstore, and how to order textbooks online. It's kind of interesting. If you ever want to learn how to order your textbooks online instead of having to come in to the bookstore, you can watch that one as well. A video, email, and a LionNet demo. So that one, for most of you, if you're not ever going to be a traditional online student, you may want to skip module 2. Module 3 is where things get interesting.
This is the one you really need to pay attention to.
We start off with an article on earning the grade you want. How much time do you have to put in? What is your learning style? If you don't know what your learning style is, we actually put the BERC quiz in here, and you can go out and take the BERC quiz and find out whether you're a visual, audio, kinesthetic, or read-write. Jennifer's very read-write.
Oh, man.
And I'm very
Online classes
visual.
were perfect for me.
And I'm very visual, so it's interesting. After I've taken this test and learned what the different categories are, I can actually pick out faculty and where they fit in this based on how they want to design their course. So it's kind of fascinating just to have that information. We talked about the syllabus and where the syllabus would be in an online course. The first thing I'm actually going to log into and show you is this time management tool. So I'm going to come down here and actually go into the module. Try to get out of the preview. Okay, to actually get into it, this is what a module looks like in Blackboard. See this little notebook with the tabs? That indicates that it's a module. And then if you click that link, it's going to open up with a table of contents and lots of items. Now, if I were in student view, I'd be able to click on these and move, but because I'm in edit mode, I have to scroll down this way. So we're going to come down here and go to time management.
When you're in an online class, don't be afraid to click every button. Explore every single thing there is, because in most of the classes, there's kind of a common look and feel, but not everything is standardized, so professors may put stuff in different places. So, that first day or two of classes, you need to go around and, poke around. Just think of it as, I don't know, an old building and you're a kid and you're exploring. Don't leave any cranny unexplored, because there's gonna be something there that you need later. And it'll just give you some more confidence in your course. Is it gonna open?
Yes.
Run regular updates.
Welcome to the MSSU on.
Okay, that's my voice, which I can't say. But as you move through this, it talks about time.
You've got the time. It's all in how you use it. According to David Ellis in his book, Becoming a Master Student, time is an equal opportunity resource. All of us, regardless of gender, race, creed, or national origin, have exactly the same number of hours in a week. No matter how famous we are, no matter how rich or poor, we get 168 hours to spend each week, no more, no less. Everything written about time can be reduced to 3 main areas. Know exactly what you want. Identify your goals and put them in writing. Know how to get what you want. Develop an action plan in writing to get those goals. Go for balance. Make sure you have quality in your life. According to Stephen R. Covey, author of The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, the purpose of planning is to carve out space for things in your life that are not urgent but are truly important. Things such as reading, exercising, spending quality time alone or with family and friends contributes to your personal goals for the future and the overall quality of life in the present. To navigate through the rest of this workshop, click the Next Slide button on the bottom right of the screen, or click through the sections by selecting an item from the Table of Contents menu on the left-hand side. The written narration for this presentation may be accessed by clicking the Notes tab in the upper left. This interactive workshop is divided into 2 sections.
Okay, I'm going to
Use the link below to download the time.
At this point, there's a timesheet calculator spreadsheet in here. You guys can go back and go through the rest of the tutorial, but I really wanted to get to this. Come on, you can do it.
I keep getting asked if I want to put something on OneDrive. What's the, why would you want to use OneDrive?
OneDrive is cloud storage space that you have as a student here. It's assigned to your student account and allows you to either save material out on the cloud so that if you're working on something on a campus computer, you don't have to worry about having a dongle or a USB drive. The other advantage is that you can share it. So if you're working on a group project, you can create a folder out on OneDrive, share it with everybody in your group, and then everybody can collaborate and work on it together. I think as students, you guys have 4 gigs of space out there. You can access it from anywhere that you have a computer by just simply signing into your your student email account and then clicking on the OneDrive material.
Okay.
This gives you a benefit because if you have to default to your Plan B computer access plan, you don't have everything, like if you're storing it on your OneDrive, it's not on your defunct hard copy, you know, on the one that's down.
You
You've
can
got
get
it.
it anywhere.
Yeah,
Yep.
you know, so if you're visiting Aunt Tilly and you need to log in and do homework, all your projects are up in the cloud and you can just pull that down into your local computer and work on it there, save it back up to the cloud, submit it on the road or whatever.
Which we're gonna go straight out to the cloud to get this since the plugin doesn't seem to work.
And when something in a presentation doesn't work, you can go get it.
Oh, I know why it's not working, 'cause it's, okay, this is the cloud. Of course, since I've never logged in on this computer before, it wants to show me a commercial on how to do it. Let's go. I have it stored in another place, bear with me a second, we'll go get it here.
While she's looking for this, I'm gonna talk a little bit about it from my perspective, which is, you have to look at, I would look at a calendar, a planner, because I'm a pen and paper kind of person. Felicia would use a different way, because she's more of a visual person, so she's got this handy dandy worksheet. So I like to buy planners, you know, like at Borders or Books A Million, or I guess Borders is closed now, Barnes and Noble. And it doesn't have to be a specific size, but I like one that opens with the month view and then has a 2-page spread for each week, so you've got room to write. The beginning of the semester, I like to see students pull down their syllabus and go through it. I mean, it takes a while because you have to kind of get a sense of your professor, you're forecasting what your semester is gonna look like in that course. You're getting a sense for the rhythm of the class, even though you're not really in it physically, you're only there mentally. So you're laying those dates out on the month pages of your planner for when discussion board posts are due or when papers are due. Then in your week plans, you're gonna go in and add more details. So you know you've got a paper due the day before Thanksgiving break, right? That paper is not gonna write itself the day of, I hope. So some may try that, but that's not optimal. So what you need to do then is kind of reverse engineer your semester to make space for the work that you'll have to put in to get that paper done. So, you know, do some reading about the topic, do some research about the topic, and you're gonna build that into your weeks backwards, you know, so that the paper's ready. And if you are somebody who just likes to write your first draft and spell check it and turn it in, I mean, you're gonna do your planning the way that works best for your learning style. But that's the way I organize my student planners, or organized, I'm not in school now, but Felicia has this awesome interactive worksheet.
Well, this is just to help students figure out if they have time to be a full-time student or part-time based on their lives. So this is a little interactive spreadsheet that I've created, and I'm gonna kind of pick on you and ask you guys to help me fill this out. You notice everybody has 160 hours, 68 hours a week, that's all we have. So how many hours a week do you think you spend sleeping? Remember, everything, figure times 7, because there's 7 days in a week. So do you spend 8 hours a night sleeping? Do you spend 5 hours a night sleeping? Somebody give me a number.
35 hours maybe.
35, okay?
Sleep pretty much every week.
It doesn't love you today.
No, it doesn't. Well, it's not my computer,
So see, if this kind of thing happens, don't let it frustrate you. It's just part of the package. It's no big deal. She's just gonna click all the buttons until it works. Okay, there we go.
Okay, so
She said
35.
35.
So we're immediately down to 133 hours. So how many hours do you think you use for personal grooming, showering, dressing, brushing your teeth, etc.?
14.
14?
I'm just throwing something out there.
Boy, it takes you a while to get
It's all the coffee that it takes to get me started in the morning.
Okay, eating. How many hours a week do you think you spend eating? Breakfast, lunch, and dinner, snacks, everything else?
And you can eat while you study though, so.
Yeah, this is true. But if you're a mom or a dad, you can't. You've got to allow for fixing dinner and sitting down and eating with the family.
I guess I'll answer that.
Huh?
I said, I guess I'll answer that.
All right,
Okay.
go for it.
I would say 14,
14.
Okay.
Okay.
because, I mean, I'm a mom and you got to put me in meals at a time.
Yeah.
at a time.
Good.
Okay. So, household duties and time with family, cleaning, laundry, taking care of the kids.
Significant others,
being
taking care of your
soccer
chickens,
mom,
whatever.
Yeah, whatever.
See, that's important too, taking care of your chickens.
We all have.
I'd say 7 or 8.
7 or 8 hours, okay. Working, how many of you have a job, part-time or full-time?
How many hours a week do you work?
30?
Yeah.
See how our time's dropping down really quick? What about traveling or commuting? Back and forth to work, back and forth to school, back and forth to pick up the kids, whatever. How many hours do you think you spend in the car a week?
It's a little scary, isn't it?
5 or 6.
Okay, leisure activities, watching TV, going to the movies, hanging out with friends.
It's like 0.
Good students!
They have halos.
Yes. If you talk to my sons who are gamers, it'd be like, every waking hour of the day. We'll put 2 in here, just
2
Help
a
group.
week?
3 hours a week. That's more
Well,
fun.
the
That's not very
slideshow
much
did say
time.
strive for
I
balance.
thought you meant an afternoon.
There you go.
Health-related activities such as doctor's appointments, exercising, participating in sports.
I'm not answering that.
That would be.
Yeah, mine's like negative.
Yeah.
How I get here is exercise. Like I walk back and forth every day.
Okay.
So
How long does it take you to walk back and forth from in the dorms?
yeah, I live behind them, like 15 to 20 minutes to get here and 15 to 20 minutes
So
to get back.
half an hour a day times 7 is what, 3.5
No,
hours?
but I do it like 2 or 3 times a day.
Ooh.
Oh.
Okay, so,
7 hours, 8 hours.
Yeah,
That's
that's
what I
good.
think.
okay, other activities, church, tutoring, volunteering. Anybody have anything like that?
Basket weaving.
Church, 2 hours a week.
Okay.
I do like more than that a week. I'm there for like a couple hours and go to like 3 times a week. So.
You'd have 6 hours of other activities. Is that what you're saying? Yeah. Okay. So, you're down to 100, or you're down from 168 to 45 hours in a week. Now, go back to our little formula, 3 times 3. What's 45 divided by 3? I'm asking.
Who's in that?
It's 15.
15.
15. Okay. How many hours does it take to be a full-time student? 12. That means all of your remaining time should be spent on studying, either in class or out of class. You know, if you get a very involved family person, such as myself, who was a single mom, I had less time than that. This little time calculator helped me see where I was spending my time, and then I could go back and figure out what's the priority. I can't not feed my kids, so they were kind of a priority. But the time I spent in front of the TV or the time I spent hanging out with friends, that could go away. So I could reduce that and put the amount of time I needed into being a good student. And that's what this whole thing does, is it allows you to figure out realistically in your life how many hours a semester you can do and do well.
And that's on Blackboard.
It's in this online course.
Yes, it's in this
That
online course.
We'll put all of you in if you want.
Before I put you all in it, I will get all the little plugins fixed, because it's been a semester since I've been in this, so we'll get it all fixed before you get in there. But you can get in there and play with this and figure it out. And that, once you get that figured out, will help you do your calendar either on paper or in Blackboard. How many of you know Blackboard have a calendar? Blackboard has a calendar. Okay, we're gonna go look at that next.
It's never went to, but I know it has one.
Well, and the other thing to keep in mind is if you've got a smartphone or if you have a Gmail account, you have a calendar in there, and you can sync any number of that kind of thing to your smartphone, to your computer. You can set it up in your most frequently used email. There's one in your student email address. So there's a lot of different options for a digital calendaring system, and you can program most of them to give you reminders if you want those.
Okay, before we look at the calendar, I'm going to cover what's in the rest of this module real quick. There's that time management piece. Here's the information on response, lockdown, and distance learning testing services. There's a section in here on developing a professional email.
Oh, yes.
Have you guys worked on that in here?
Well, I don't think anyone in here is, we do a professional development class, but I don't think anybody here is taking it. We do talk about that a little bit there, so.
Okay,
probably
well,
none of
so
you guys have gotten
what
that.
you don't want to do is have an email that says something like Hot Rod 72 or Tavern Girl 15 or, just don't. Because later, you might need to use it for business or your utility bill, or maybe to apply for a job or ask somebody for a letter of reference, so set that up.
Yeah, and quite truthfully, any contact with the school should be done from your student email account. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. If you do not know how to access it, you can go over to IT, which is over in Plaster in the basement, and they will help you put it on your phone so that you have access to it. But I do know faculty on this campus that will not open an email that comes from billybob58@yahoo.com. They will ignore it. If it doesn't have the mymail at mssu.edu, they won't open it. So if you want to be taken seriously, use that student email account.
The other thing to keep in mind is we are able to protect your data in that account in a way that we're not able to do so in, say, Yahoo or something else. So financial aid may be sending you information, you may be getting grade information. You would really be better served to have that in a non-hackable location where you've got full-time professional quality IT people watching your stuff. So that's another advantage.
Yes,
using that
speaking of
account.
hacking, nothing could be more embarrassing than to have your personal email account hacked and have one of your professors get a spam mail for you for an erectile dysfunction medicine or some other.
True story, this has
That
happened.
happened to me too.
Yes, some
It's
other.
awful.
Yeah. Or, some
No,
enlargement pill
erectile
for a body part they don't have. Personal emails get hacked.
Yeah.
But it was almost just as bad. It was about that, this pill that was going around that you take and it helps you lose weight. And it sent it to all my instructors at Crowder.
So not what you were going for, right?
I think you need to lose weight. Here, pill.
Right, no, so
Not a good impression.
use that one. The other thing is we do send time-sensitive communications there, so if you're getting those regularly, you're less apt to have, uncomfortable surprises about things like midterms or whatever.
And it also goes into formatting the email, how to send a professional email with the salutation and the proper information, including a closing that includes your full name and your SID number. I can't tell you, and I'm not faculty here at the moment, but I get emails from students all the time since I help with Blackboard, and they send it from a personal account, and they don't give me their name, they don't give me their SID, I don't know who they are, and I have to send back, who are you, what class are you talking about, I need more information other than, this doesn't work. What doesn't work? And I think, do we have that copy of that email in there from the student that was so funny?
The other thing to keep in mind is, and spread this amongst all your friends and loved ones and acquaintances, do not email someone using text-to-speak. All of your professors have a first name and it is professor, so don't email them and say, hey, Bob, don't.
Yo, dude.
Professor last name, that is your professor's name. And if they say, call me Jim, call them professor last name, because you just never know. So those are good practices. Use complete sentences. Don't say, see you later. Spell it
I had an online, I didn't know if that teacher was a girl or a guy, but I think I called him a guy when I did
Yeah,
Mr.
see?
and I was a Mrs.
Yeah.
out. Always, professor, totally gender neutral. It's not going to offend anybody. Some of our professors have a doctorate, and so if you know that they're a doctor, feel free to use that, doctor last name.
I do that a lot.
When in doubt, say professor. Even the adjuncts will just love you for it, so it's fine, just not the first name.
And the rest of that goes into how to send an actionable email. what is it that you actually want the professor to do? You know, if you're sending an email complaining, saying this is crap and it doesn't work and, you know, I had a hard time, that's not an actionable email. It doesn't give the professor anything to act on.
It's venting.
It's venting.
It's not a request for action.
Don't send your professor a venting email. Send them an actionable email. Say, I was not able to get in on this date. This is what happened and what you'd like them to do. Is it possible for you to reset the quiz for me? Or can I have an extension on the due date? Give them something to act on. Because if you're just venting, they're going to delete it.
And then you've burned through your benefit of the doubt, which you might need when you have to go visit Aunt Tilly in the hospital. Another good practice is before your online class starts, shoot an email to your prof and just say, hey, my name is so-and-so, looking forward to your class, thanks, full name, SID number. Done. At the end of your class, say, thank you for the class. It doesn't matter if you like your grade or not. Thank them for the course. You may end up having that professor again, particularly if it's a course in your minor or your major area. So, you know, it's good to express gratitude for the time they spent. You know, if you didn't do as well academically because of participation or performance, that's kind of on you. At times you will have a professor who has an issue or an emergency in the middle of a semester, and that affects, you know, what happens inside your online class. It's still okay to say thank you for the course. It pays dividends.
So that's what's in the rest of that one. There's some etiquette for discussion boards in there. And then a very important one is a little copyright law. What is copyright law? That is a little 10-minute video that a university made to talk about copyright and what you can and can't use and how you can use it. And what they've done is taken Disney videos, and it's one of those videos where they cut out, you know, 2 or 3 words out of all of the videos to make this. And it's really cute, but it is time consuming. It's 10 minutes. But if you want to know about copyright law and what you can and can't use, I do recommend that you go in there and watch that little video. Most people think because it's on the internet, it's free to use, and that is not the case. Now, we have a little bit more leeway in education because we're not looking for a profit. We're not trying to profit off of their material. We're trying to use